Welcome back. So we now know about lazy loading. We have seen it running in an application. Maybe you even built this yourself and seen it running. Let's actually talk about some of the things that Angular asks us to kind of look into before we start using feature module. It's things like feature modules in general. It's what the difference is between modules, what kind of modules you use, what types of feature modules are available, and then routing and navigation. These are all very interesting things inside Angular when we want to build big, complex application, not just your basic to-do list. So we need to understand some of these things. So let's just start with the top line right here and jump into the feature modules. Well, it seems we need to go into some more information for that. Let's jump into bootstrapping. Well, it seems we need more information for that. Let's jump into this guy. Now, this is about the difference between JavaScript modules and NGModules, because JavaScript modules is, of course, just the basic way that JavaScript uses modules inside the system, where NGModules is a bit more complex. That's Angular's way of handling modules. So let's just start right here. I don't want to go deeper. I could keep going. So here's a JavaScript module, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty much just individual files with JavaScript code inside them, right? So in this case, we have a class right here that is actually exported from a file. And we can then use that class later on in another file by saying import and then put in the name of the file. So in this case, the file would be named app_component.js up here, right? So that's how simple it actually is inside JavaScript. So let's have a look at NGModules and what's the difference. Now, NGModules are a bit more complex because they actually define a lot of the metadata for your application, a lot of the information that you need to kind of bind different components together to build an entire application. That's what the modules does for you inside Angular. So I've opened the old application that I talked about earlier as well, where I kind of built my first application that was just built Wild West style, no modules, no anything like that, just good old plain one module, which is called app module TS. And notice how polluted this is with the information from all sort of weird features and third-party libraries and stuff like that. It's almost impossible to read and figure out this code. Now, this is only 100 lines for now. It's only 100 lines. But as the application grows, you'll just start adding more and more into these areas. And let me try and show you some of the things we put in the different areas. First of all, I have routing directly inside. Instead of making a routing module, which is the new Angular way, I have routing directly in here. So I pretty much just use routing and put it right into this import down here. So that's kind of a lot of the space. I could just move this into a routing module again, take the routing part and put it into the module where it belongs, right? So that's, again, you have to think your code, where do things belong? Let's just keep scrolling. Then I have my declarations right here. Again, look, there's both things about the actual let's call it the bootstrap, the app module itself, the start where everything, the place where everything starts. But then there's also information about customer. There's information about the landing page, the nav bar, the login system, and even a no access component. So there's a lot of noise in here that could be moved into different modules, and we'll try and split this up in later lessons. Then there's a lot of imports, a lot of other modules I'm using, like the browser module, reactive forms, client, ACP client, some routers modules, stuff like that. So this is all the stuff that I kind of need to build and run my application. I need some information from the outside world. Like this is Firebase, for instance, if you want to hook up to Firebase. This is more REST-minded, if you want to kind of get data from REST API. I'm going to show both later on. And then we have the providers. These are the services you have. It could be configurations, it could be guards, the admin guards and stuff like that. And then the final thing again is that we have the bootstrap to kind of launch the application. Now there are other settings you can put inside a module, but let's just end it there. This is kind of the module. Again, you see the imports in the top, JavaScript, and then you see wherever it starts with the actual ng module, that's where we start building actual Angular code. So that's it for this lesson. Now I kind of gave you guys a small overview about the first part, which is JavaScript module versus NG modules, and you also got a good overview about what's inside an NG module. We'll dive more into that. See you next time. Have fun.